Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, this is the newest installment in the Indiana Jones franchise with Harrison Ford once again returning back as the character, and it takes place in the 60s where he's, near the end of his life. He has some regrets and he's retiring from, his profession, his teaching job, being a professor and all that at this university. And all of the normality of his life changes where his goddaughter shows up and she is looking for this device, the Dial of Destiny, which can help you time travel. I kid you not. And it was something that drove her father crazy, who was one of Indiana Jones's friends, which you see in the flashback sequence, which is like the first 20 whatever minutes of the film. And they have to get this device before the bad guys do. And that's pretty much what I can really say without diving into too many spoilers. Now, I was tempted to do a spoiler review, but maybe there's some people on the fence who are going to check this out, and maybe they'll stumble upon my video, so I don't want to do a spoiler video, because the box office for this movie has been pretty bad so far. And I will say, at the beginning of the year, I felt like a lot of people were really excited about this movie because it wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg, but it was directed by a fellow really good director in James Mangold, who made films like Ford v Ferrari and especially Logan, which is probably one of the best comic book movies ever made. So a lot of people had hype for this, and this was the last hurrah with Harrison Ford playing this iconic character. But Disney, I guess, had a lot of faith in it because they decided to debut it at Cannes. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because, along with Elemental, they debuted both of these films at Cannes, where the response was not good at all. And as a result, it kind of tanked the film because a lot of stuff about the film came out, and then it just went downhill from there because a lot of the bad parts of the movie started to really show. And I didn't want to judge it based off of that. I wanted to see it for myself because I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. It's one of my favorite franchises, and it had some of my, The Last Crusade. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, that third one. So I love this franchise a lot. I think Harrison Ford's a great actor and all that type of stuff, and I like the cast they got together here. So I went in open-minded, hoping that I would like it, and it breaks my heart because it's really bad. And a lot of the reasons why it's really bad is when you're watching this movie, the stuff is, some of the stuff is there. John Williams, I believe, does the score again, who did the classic Indiana Jones music. What happens in that department is it doesn't really feel like there's any new music. It just feels like recycled, the same old, which was fine because you want to get into that feel. But there didn't really feel like nothing new was brought to the table. It just sounded like the same music. I mean, the music was good. That's the thing. I liked it. It's just there was nothing original or new there. And it was unfortunate. Harrison Ford, I really enjoyed him, but you could just tell in some of these sequences. I don't mean to be ageist or anything, but even in the flashback sequence, I don't know if he did it, but it just looks so weird because you're looking at a CGI monstrosity throughout the entire film. In still frames, the ones that were released in trailers and all, it looks fine, but watching it in motion, it just seems weird and seems off, it's not a real person. And I believe there is a real person on that. It's just the face that they CGI'd, but it just felt weird to me. Also, that first sequence I thought was kind of mid, and everyone kept saying that was the best part of the movie and it was great. And I'm just wow, if that's the best part, uh-oh. And it does get worse from there. The main plot does not belong in an Indiana Jones movie because the old Indiana Jones movies, they were based off relics that are historical and are real. And you had a sense of, it had that sense of adventure, it had that sense of you want to know more about these relics, the Cup of Christ, the Ark of the Covenant, even the cult, the stuff from the cult and all. Heck, even when they kind of jumped the shark in a way with Crystal Skull, And by the way, there are moments of this movie that make Crystal Skull look like a cinematic achievement. Because you thought Nuke in the Fridge was crazy and stupid. The entire third act of this is bonkers insane. And it frustrates me so much because at that point I was literally thinking, what am I watching here? This is not an Indiana Jones movie. And it's very unfortunate because, like, also, with the budget being almost $300 million, you would think it would look better. But a lot of the scenes, you could tell they're in front of a green screen. Like, it was like, is this for real? And I don't mean to be bashing on this movie the whole time of this video. It's just, I really expected more because you wanted to make another one. You put all this money in. You brought Harrison Ford back, and you did all of that. And like the ending to this movie is not that good either. Like even Crystal Skull, when they're in like the chapel house and all, and you know, Indy and Marion are getting married and all. Like even that with Shia LaBeouf in there, even that ending I thought was pretty solid. But in my opinion, I think nothing was gonna top the ending of Last Crusade where they ride off into the sunset. It's one of my favorite shots in cinema history, but like at least do better than the ending we got. Like really. Now, there were some new additions and some returning characters, like Marion Ravenwood. She returns, like from the first movie and the fourth movie, which was great. Sallah returns. We haven't seen him since Last Crusade, but they aren't really a part of the story and all. It felt more like kind of fan service, like we were able to get these actors, so let's just bring them back. And it was, like it was nice to see them and all, but it didn't really add nothing to the movie. And the new characters, like Mads Mikkelsen as the main bad guy, and Boyd Holbrook, I believe how you pronounce it. That guy was in Logan. He's fine here. Nothing, outstanding. Mads Mikkelsen was pretty great, but, the stuff they were given to work with here wasn't really all that. There was something from the first act, how he should not be here is what I'm trying to say, because I don't really want to dive into it, but they never addressed it. And speaking of that, there's a lot of plot holes in this movie. And I was hoping they would try to clear them up and answer them, but they never did, except for maybe a throwaway line or something. So I was just like, wow, because one of these plot holes was a main integral part of the story, and they never wrapped it up or anything. So it was very odd. And a lot of the new characters, like the kid, that's with them in the movie, he's okay, he's fine. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I didn't really like her character at all. I mean, she got less degrading by the end, but she was just kind of a jerk throughout most of it. And I get it, like, I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for, but it wasn't like a charismatic or charming or anything. It was just it just didn't sit right with me. I didn't really like it. It reminded me a lot of Mac, where he just couldn't decide what side he was on. He kept flip-flopping. It was similar to that. If you're being compared to Mac, that's not good. I mean, I don't hate these characters. I just found them really annoying and degrading in the respective movies they were in. But, I mean, that's not to say the entire movie is, bad. There are some pretty cool action scenes. Some of the effects look pretty good, like some plane scenes. That train, sequence at the beginning wasn't awful. It just was not, like, the chef's kiss like everyone kept saying it was, saying it was the best part and all that. And, it just made me ponder, they should not have made this movie. It should have just stayed, dead. The franchise should have just been done. If that, you could have maybe recast it or rebooted or something. I just didn't see the need for them to make this movie because it tarnishes the reputation that people had for the Indiana Jones franchise, even though it was already pretty tarnished after Crystal Skull. I'm still a defender, though, of Crystal Skull. I enjoy it overall as a film, but this was just unfortunate. I really wanted to love this movie and like this movie, but I just had a lot of issues with it. The performances were fine. The effects in parts look good, but it's also in parts look laughably bad. The plot is, I have to say, it's atrocious, especially the third act. The first act, you didn't really need in the movie to drag out the runtime because this movie's 2.5 hours, guys. That first act, like that first flashback sequence, did not need to be over 20 minutes long. The villains are stupid, but they're doable, I guess. It's just this movie did not do it for me, guys. But with all that said, those are my thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Yeah, I know. This is probably the only Indiana Jones movie I do not like. And it's really sad to say that. But what do you all think of this movie? Please let me know down below in the comment section. If you want to hit the subscribe button and the bell as well to get notified when I upload, that would be great. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Bye.